This way, pups. Come on. Morning. It's a bit of a grey day today. We've had some beautiful sunshine of late. Pups, don't go too far forward. Barney, come here. I want to get a picture of the... Oh, he's posing. Get a picture of the path ahead. Here we go. F4. I've got my X100 travelling friend. 350 shutter speed, 160 ISO. Just a sketchbook image to start this reflection. Come on, pups, this way. This is the Photo Walk podcast. On Fridays, I walk with your letters and talk with photographers about what drives them. But each Monday, there's this. A moment to pause, to think about the week ahead and how we see the world. Just a shorter episode to start the week. Come on, pups. These moments I call reflections, and they appear every weekday on our Patreon channel, The Extra Mile. And today's piece thinks about the places we'd like to take our cameras to, the adventures we'd like to make. Some more accessible than others.
Chernobyl isn't an amusement park. My dearest photographer friend Charles Penfound, I made a film about him as it goes, spent many years in the British Army as a photographer and witness, and I use that latter term purposely, as many of his documentary images were exactly that, for the people affected by war and conflict who certainly did not choose to be. Even his personal projects at that time reflected a similar narrative and worldview, so when he chose to photograph at the notorious Auschwitz concentration and extermination camp, it was not with a voyeuristic eye, but with a deep sense of responsibility to bear witness to the history and human suffering etched into every corner of that place. He called that project Day Trip to Hell, and I think I have my own version of that. Somebody asked me recently where I'd most like to photograph. It's the kind of question that carries with it all sorts of expectations for a photographer. Remote mountain ranges, perfect. Desert plains, maybe a bustling street in a city like Tokyo. In truth, they are all on the list. But I gave an answer I've given for years now. Chernobyl. Or more specifically, Pripyat, the town left behind when the world changed on the 26th of April, 1986. It's a strange choice on the surface. After all, this isn't some hidden village or undiscovered gem. This is a place defined by disaster. A site where lives were lost, where homes were abandoned, with the kettle still warm and children's toys left scattered across nursery floors. Nearly 30 plant workers and firefighters died within the first few days of the explosion at Reactor 4, and the long-term consequences, cancer, displacement, and generational trauma are still being studied. The exclusion zone now stretches some 30 kilometres from the plant, a border not of fences, but of memories and science, of course, and much caution. And yet, I still find myself drawn to it, not in a macabre or voyeuristic way, but because I believe photography has a role to play in bearing witness even to places we can't or shouldn't reach. Urbex, or urban exploration photography, sometimes gets criticised for this, for trespassing into decay and then calling it art. And I understand that. But done respectfully, it's not about romanticising ruin, it's about honouring what's left behind. Pripyat wasn't always still. It was once a model Soviet town, built for workers of the Chernobyl plant and their families. It had a fairground waiting to open, swimming pools, schools, music halls, places where people lived, ordinary lives. And then almost overnight, it became a museum without visitors, a time capsule locked in 1986. And then for a time there were visitors, and a reasonable number. In the years before the war, Chernobyl became a destination of sorts. Photographers, tourists, documenters, journalists arrived by the coachload, GoPros in hand, standing beneath the rusted Ferris wheel, some more reverent than others. It was jarring, a place of tragedy, blurred, I'm afraid, sometimes into a backdrop for selfies. And then as war returned to Ukraine, even that stopped. What fascinates me most now is how nature has returned, birch trees splitting through concrete, moss carpeting stairwells, wild animals moving freely through the streets where children once played. There's something definitely defiant about it. The idea that in the absence of us, the world begins again. Of course, Chernobyl is not a playground. It's not a photo op, or a backdrop, or a film set. To visit, I think, demands respect for the lives lost and the families scattered, and the ecological footprint that's been left behind. Even now, its future feels uncertain in ways far beyond the usual passage of time. And in truth, I may never go. The reasons, they'll be complex, political, of course, ethical, some personal, and perhaps that's part of why I hold it in my mind the way I do as a photographer. It's become for me a place of imagined photographs, the pictures that I'll never make, a place I've studied and tried to understand from a distance. And in that way, it's become a different kind of subject. So sometimes the most compelling stories are found not in the photographs we take or make, but in the ones we quietly yearn to.